Hi guys, Ali here. So this is unfortunately not going to be a happy video. Today I'm going to talk about why, as of yesterday, I am no longer a moderator on the Hypixel network. Also while building random stuff in housing, because why not? So I thought for a while about how I was going to talk about this, because usually whenever someone leaves the staff team, whatever the situation may be, most of the time any former staff will say that they're taking some time away from the team or they voluntarily left, even if that wasn't the case. But I am not going to do that. I am not going to lie to you guys and BS my way through this. I will own up to my mistakes. I was demoted. Now that's the short version. If you want more of an explanation, then keep watching. Otherwise, feel free to leave the video. That's fine. No hard feelings. I don't care. Before I continue, I just want to say that I have absolutely no ill will towards any particular staff member, even the ones who demoted me, so I'm not making this video to bash the staff team or hate on anyone, so I just want to throw that out there. So I will be the first to admit I am definitely not perfect. Not a perfect person, and certainly not a perfect moderator. Even the staff team as a whole has its problems, so there's no point in pretending that the contrary is true. One of the biggest complaints I've seen about staff is that they're not transparent enough with players. And what I mean by that is players say they don't explain enough, like on procedures and how things work, which that I can understand staff not talking about, but often I will also see people saying that staff spend too much time and effort sweeping problems under the rug and pretending that the staff team is perfect. Everything is perfect, nothing is ever wrong, always super over-the-top positive, happy smiley, stuff like that. Which, even back in the day, I could kind of see with some staff members, and I understood players' concerns, because to them, and kind of to me, that seemed really fake. So, for the most part, I always did my best to be myself, and tell it like I see it, tell it like it is, while still being professional on the server and forums. However, on my personal Twitter account, if you follow me, then you'll know that I can be sometimes of a potty mouth, and that's just how I am. And I could go on rants occasionally over certain things. And that's a big part of what led to the incident that got me demoted. About maybe a week and a half, close to 2 weeks, before I was officially demoted yesterday, I had posted a mini rant on my Twitter about something that really bothered me about the staff team, which I'll go ahead and show my posts here so you can see them. Basically, I was upset that someone I had banned on the forums for harassing me, that person was unbanned without anyone asking me about it or talking to me, or at the very least asking for proof or my side of the story. Which I thought was usually the case when it came to bans on the server or forums, because, proof is always essential. So then when this person was randomly unbanned for what seemed like no reason, I felt like whoever had removed the ban, because I didn't know who it was, since the banning system on the forums is different from the server, I felt like this person had gone behind my back to possibly protect a friend from being banned. I don't know, I didn't know what was going on at all. And at the time, I was going through kind of a difficult situation in my personal life, which I'm not going to get into now, but I was way more stressed out and frustrated than usual over things that had nothing to do with Hypixel or the server. So then to see what I viewed as a fellow staff member going behind my back, I just snapped. And I took to Twitter to vent about it, which I fully admit was wrong of me to do. I absolutely should not have done that. and it was a big mistake that I regretted just a short time later. But it was still something that I saw as a problem and something that bothered me. And it wasn't even so much that the person was unbanned. I didn't really care about that. But I cared about, like, how can I do my job as a moderator if I have to worry about someone going behind my back and undoing my punishments without me even knowing, you know? So I did leave the posts up, the comments I had made, and my Twitter account was already not viewable to the public for personal reasons, so not a lot of people were going to see it anyway, and if the admins had asked me to remove it, I would have done it right away. Then about a week and a half goes by, and no one said anything. The situation died down, and I was still on the forums and the server and stuff, with no one saying anything about it, so I thought it was all good. Then later, I decided to get help with the situation about punishments I'd given out being removed without my notification, because that was still kind of going on and it was still a problem. So I went to an admin who I won't name, and I asked this person for help. And we went on TeamSpeak to go over some things, but it was then that he brought up the posts I'd made on Twitter. And my first thought was, okay, yeah, I'm in trouble. I know I screwed up. I will take the lecture and apologize, and I won't do anything stupid like that ever again. But instead, what started as an attempt to reach out to this admin for help, I was instead told that in the recent weeks past, they had apparently enacted a zero tolerance policy for staff, publicly bashing the team or other staff members, even though I hadn't named anybody specifically because I didn't even know who it was. And I knew we weren't supposed to post such things on social media, which is why I knew it was wrong, and like I know I shouldn't have done that. But there was never any mention to my knowledge of this new policy. And he told me that a decision had been made sometime after I had made the post, in fact, a week or two prior. The decision had been made to remove me from the staff team with no warning, no second chance. But they'd never said anything or brought it up until I went to someone for help with something. And at first, I was shocked, of course. I couldn't wrap my head around it because I was on staff for almost 3 years. You know, like, I was one of the longest running staff members. I'd put so much time and effort into the server being staff, and I thought that would have counted for something. Especially since I acknowledged that I was wrong and I made a mistake, and I tried to apologize for it. I thought that all the work I had put into the server for the past 3 years would have earned me a second chance, and I could get off with a warning this one time, but apparently not. And honestly, I was very upset, and I did cry for a while, because I was hurt, and I felt betrayed by these people who I thought were my friends. Like, to me, in my eyes, the whole situation seemed like, oh, you came here for help after going through a difficult time and making a mistake? Nah, you're just demoted. Like, that's literally what it seemed like. That's kind of how it progressed in that way. It just seemed so unfair, and I was incredibly heartbroken by the whole situation. After putting a good chunk of my life towards this server, it's like I'm being tossed away like trash. Like, if I was a newer staff member, then of course I'd understand. But I've been here for almost 3 years. And I really did love being a moderator. I wasn't in this for the rank. Otherwise, there's no way I would have lasted almost 3 years. I wouldn't have lasted as long as I had. I stuck around through some of the toughest times in my life because I legitimately cared about this community and I wanted to help. But none of that even mattered in the end. I make one mistake and that's it. It's over. And I know it is 100% my fault because I did something stupid. But it just seems so heartless and unfair to just demote me without any warning or second chance after all this time I've been a part of this team. Now, like I said, don't get me wrong, despite all this, I have nothing but respect for the staff managers and all the admins, all the staff. Especially for the staff managers and admins, I'm sure it's a very difficult job sometimes. But I really think this was a bad decision. I understand not wanting any staff to say all kinds of dumb and negative stuff, but policing their social media and instantly demoting for one mistake, it's just wrong. There is no other way I can describe that besides it's just wrong. Now, I was told I could reapply for a chance to come back after I take some time away, but I highly doubt I'd be accepted back, and honestly, after this, I'm not sure I even want to come back. When I first started on the staff team, it truly felt like a family. Everyone was friendly, and even though Kevin, for those who know him when he was still around, he may not have been the best staff manager, and there were scandals that followed him around until he was removed. He still cared so much for his staff team, which really brought everyone together. But lately, I feel like the staff team has become disjointed. And something that was brought up yesterday when I was being told I was demoted, the admin I spoke to talked about what I posted saying that I was giving the wrong idea, that the staff team is divided. But honestly, I think it is. And it has been for some time. That's just how I feel. I'm not trying to like throw shade at people and be all negative. That's honestly how I feel. And I'm not the only one who believes that. I've talked to many staff members, both former and current, who agree with me on this. You know, and trying to pretend like there's no problem, that's only going to make it worse. There are literally cliques within the staff team, like back in grade school, and it's more obvious the longer you've been around because there is definitely an obvious change because the team right now seems almost broken. But I don't want to talk much about that because, like I said, I have no problems with any staff members and I don't want to hate on anyone specific. But the staff team has definitely, in the past year or two, like, I didn't notice it too much until more recently, but it has been treated more like a business. Like, with the exception of a certain clique of mods that has more power and authority than the rest, it feels almost like each staff member is nothing but a number, and that we're easily disposable, that we're meaningless, you know? And, like, we feel like outsiders within the staff team if we aren't part of this special clique. That's just how a lot of us feel, honestly. I can almost guarantee that if, say for example, just an example, not trying to call out anyone here, but if a leader of one of the teams, like, say applications or appeals or anyone considered higher up staff, had publicly said something negative about staff, they would most likely get a warning and a second chance. There's absolutely no way they'd be instantly demoted. Which, really, it should not be a thing. There should be no bias or favoritism in a team like this. And I am completely 100% sure that some people will disagree, but like I said, I'm only going off what I and literally dozens of other staff and hundreds of players have witnessed and experienced. And it seems very ironic to me that, with a couple exceptions, no matter what rules you break, you can hack, You can tell someone to kill themselves. Almost anything is a temp ban the first time, because the big thing for staff is they give people a second chance and an opportunity to shape up and follow the rules, but they can't even do that with their own staff. It's very sad. And while I fully respect the staff team and I have no issues with anyone, I feel like the staff isn't going in the best direction right now, and changes have needed to be made for quite some time. Because there are too many people getting staff because they're friends with the right mod, or they're just doing it for the rank, and this whole business corporation attitude some of the higher-ups seem to have towards the staff team, or at least a good chunk of us, it has got to change. There are a lot of people who have said that the staff team is corrupt, and I don't agree with them completely, but of course my opinion has been altered a bit from this experience in talking with current and former staff. But people have always said staff are corrupt from the very beginning, no matter what. But it is important to listen and acknowledge when there are problems in the staff team so it can be fixed. And like I said, I'm in absolutely no way trying to say any of this maliciously or throw hate towards the staff. I do still care about the community and the staff team, and I've made many friends and memories here, but I say these things because I am concerned. I've been concerned for a while I was staff, and going through this experience now, it only seems to validate my concerns even more. The staff team is not the caring, close-knit family it used to be. Maybe it's because there are more people, or it could be who's in charge. No offense to them, like I said, I'm sure it's a difficult job and they do what they can. I don't know. I honestly don't know what it is. That would be something to discuss and talk and try to see what they can do to fix it. And as I've said, these issues are things I've discussed with other staff members, and everyone can agree it's a big problem that could send the staff team in a very bad direction. But, of course, we were all afraid to say something, because to an extent, it would sort of mean going against certain staff and what's been put in place. And especially when something like this happens, what happened to me, it just proves that staff have a reason to be afraid to speak their minds and say their opinions and not be all happy, smiley positivity all the time. Because a lot of us, or I guess now I should say them, I'm no longer a part of that team, they feel like they're walking on eggshells or thin ice, worried that they'll say the wrong thing and it'll have terrible consequences and they'll be forced out of the community they cared so much for and worked so hard to help, just like I was. But that's all I have to say about that. While I am still very upset about this, I hope in the long run it'll be a positive thing, and I hope that all my subscribers on YouTube and followers on Twitter and even my friends I've made will stick with me, because I know that is a common thing when someone is no longer staff. All the fake people who were around just because I had a fancy tag will likely disappear. But in the end, hopefully it'll show who's real and who isn't. I would also like to say a quick thank you to the remaining staff, because I've been on that side of the fence for quite a long time, so I know it does get difficult, but keep doing your best, make the staff team the best it can be, and good luck. I've got lots of stuff coming up. I've been working on doing some voice acting for different video games, and I've been getting back into art and drawing. If you follow me on Twitter, you've seen some of that. And I will also definitely be recording for my YouTube channel, even on Hypixel. Just because I'm not on staff anymore doesn't mean I'm going to leave completely. Actually, it'll probably even be easier now, because I don't have to worry about hacker reports in the middle of a video, so I'll be playing some more games on the server, and I have some other non-Minecraft stuff. Right now, what I've got going on my channel is Life is Strange, Final Fantasy X, Portal 2, lots of other games on my channel, and I've also got a Q&A video that I promised coming up. So, don't forget to subscribe if you have not already, because while this may be the end of my time on the staff team, it doesn't mean I'm done here. So, I know this was a long video. Thank you everyone very much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!